There we go.
This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Scott Howell.
Hello, good neighbors, and welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast, brought to you by the Friends and Neighbors Group of Cleveland and the greater Chattanooga area. My name is Scott Howell, and I'm your host. The purpose of the Good Neighbor Podcast is to bring awareness to the residents of our communities of the locally owned and or operated businesses in Cleveland, Chattanooga, and the surrounding areas. Small local businesses are the backbone of our communities, and they need our support. So joining me today is our good neighbor, Dr. Shawn Jones at Chattanooga Wellness Centers. Dr. Shawn, thank you for being our special guest today on the Good Neighbor Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Scott. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Well, of course, we've met here today to talk about your business and your company, what you offer the listeners out there that are listening to the podcast. But before we jump into that, why don't we talk about, just give you a moment to share anything you'd like to about yourself and your family.
Well, I'm remarried. That's why I ended up in Cleveland, because happy wife, happy life. And we got married, so we're moving to Cleveland. I said, okay. So we moved up here. And before that, I'd opened a practice up here. I've been in Chattanooga for almost 40 years now. And so we, excuse me, we moved to Cleveland and opened practice here 7 years ago. And then we bought a building over here on Accoy Street. So we're on the corner of 30th and Accoy. Next to the Citgo gas station, kind of blocks my sign, but that's okay. They're nice folks next door. So we're enjoying that. And then we have a practice in Chattanooga. We just moved down the street next to the Purple Law Firm, and it's across from Wright's Jewelers. And they're both big, beautiful spaces. That's why I moved there, so we have more room to help patients better.
Okay. Well, tell us a little about your business. What is it that you actually do and offer to the good folks in these communities?
Well, I'm licensed as a chiropractor. I have a degree in physical therapy also. And I've been treating people for, this is my 40th year coming into now. And I started in Chattanooga. I've been up here going back and forth. And Dr. Chris Catalfo is a great chiropractor. He works with me in Chattanooga now a couple of days a week. So I'm only down there on Wednesdays. Monday through Friday, I'm here except for Wednesdays. And it's a lot of fun. Plus, I like not traveling back and forth so much. It's a lot of miles on my truck. But we have a lot of fun. We specialize in getting people well, whatever's going on with them. And we're actually in the process of becoming medically integrated centers, which means that we'll have a nurse practitioner here full time eventually. We're phasing into that. We're going to start with Chattanooga and then move them right up here so that when a patient comes in, we don't just treat them for one thing like knee pain or neuropathy that I'm a specialist in. We look at their whole body. What other contributing factors are there? While we're going through care, let's try to fix everything. And when you're done, release you from care. You know, that's one of the biggest criticisms of chiropractic is I got to go the rest of my life. Well, I mean, I'm a chiropractor. I live and die by chiropractic, but no, you don't have to come the rest of your life. You don't want to. You don't have to. It's nice coming once a month for an adjustment. We don't force that. When you're done, you're released from care, and it's up to you if you need more care. And if something happens down the road, we'll come in, take you through a series of care, get you well on all aspects, and then release you from care again.
Tell us about, you mentioned neuropathy. That's something that seems like is becoming more and more prevalent the more people that find themselves with diabetes and injuries and things. So could you tell us a little bit about the treatment for neuropathy?
Yeah, I'll have her bring a copy of my book, and I don't know why I didn't think of it. But I wrote a best-selling book, international best-selling book on Amazon called Going, Gone, Neuropathy Can Be Healed Forever. And so she's, I'm going to tell her to bring the book in, but I just didn't think about it. You know, it's around me all the time. When people come in for the neuropathy evaluation, I give them a free copy because I want them to understand why our program has a 98% success rate, that everybody gets better. There's very few people that never got better. There's always that 1 out of 100 that just has a tough time healing, but everybody else gets great results with us. And so it's a lot of fun doing that. So, I developed the program because somebody sent me a book, said, "Hey, why don't you write the book?" And I said, "Well, like ghostwrite. They're going to write it for me." So anyway, I wrote the book in a day, but it took me weeks to edit it, get it all correct with proper grammar and stuff. And then I've got my second edition out now on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. But it goes through our whole program, why we have such a great success rate. And I autograph for every patient that comes in. And that way they've got a backup to look at what is he doing the laser for? What is he doing shockwave and all these different modalities? And what I find is you have to treat the whole person, and you got to hit them from every front to get neuropathy well, because it's really hard to fix.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
By the way, the number one cause of neuropathy now is chemotherapy. If you go through cancer treatment, then you're going to have problems with neuropathy. That's number one cause. Number two is surgery. Back, knee, hip surgery is likely to cause neuropathy, or neck surgery for hand neuropathy. And then the number three cause is, of course, diabetes.
Yeah.
And then there's other causes that have nothing to do with it either. So, good. Sorry.
Okay. Well, tell our listeners about your journey. I mean, it's pretty fascinating that you say you've been doing this for 40 years. So obviously you've got a lot of experience, but how did you arrive to the point that you knew you wanted to be a physical therapist and a chiropractor?
Yeah, I forgot to turn my phone off here. I actually got my chiropractic degree before I got my PT degree. It was an advanced degree for people. And so we did it. Oh, hey, can you bring a copy of my book in, please? Thank you. I was just letting her know. So what I did was I got into practice, and I have a twin brother, second best looking doctor I know. They're gorgeous. He's a looker, but we entered practice the same day, graduated the same day. Thank you. I always say we were womb mates, right? Because we grew up in the same womb, and roommates at college too. That's so cool. Here's a copy of the book, Going, Gone. See that good looking mug on front?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I see Jesse Waters. He shamelessly promotes his book every 10 minutes in his podcast, in his TV show. But so I got into practice, and then I got very sick and had to sell my practice. Almost died. It was a blood disorder, autoimmune, and then I got well. And 10 years later, did it again, and 10 years later, did it again, which was 2 years ago. Fortunately, I didn't get sick 2 years ago, got over it faster. People were great over here at Tennessee Oncology, just down the street from me. Fantastic people to work with. And that stopped the autoimmune on me. I don't know why it happens every 10 years, but I get over it and I move on. And, I got a $500,000 life insurance for my ex-wife. So every time I get sick, I know which team she's rooting for. But so far, I've been made it through. She's a sweet person, so. But I know what she was rooting for. She was rooting for the $500,000. So.
Oh, well, a lot of people, back down through the years have heard negative things about what you do. So could you address some myths or misconceptions that people might have about your practice?
Well, the number one thing about chiropractic is I have to go the rest of my life. And patients certainly love coming in the rest of their life periodically when they need it. But like I said, when we get done with care, we release you from the care. Now you're released. And if you need something, call us, so you don't have to worry about that with our offices. In Chattanooga Wellness Center, we're going to treat you. We're going to look at the whole body. We have a care plan to get not just maybe your neuropathy well or your back pain well, but hey, your head's way forwards. It's causing a lot of balance issues, fixing people's balance, things like that. So that makes us unique. That's the biggest myth you have to come forever. The other thing is that you're addicted. And it's not that you're addicted to it, but let's face it, when you remove the nerve interference, you feel much better. You just feel better. Your brain has complete connection to the body. There's a saying in chiropractic that says life comes from above down, inside out. And that means that life comes from above. It's not comes from outside in, like from pills and surgery. From inside, you have to release the nerve pressure. You have to let the body heal itself. And of course, we use some cool tools in our clinic that other people don't have. We have a 60-watt laser, cold laser therapy. It super heals tissues. My twin brother, remember him, the second best looking doctor I know?
I remember you mentioning him, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's also a klutz. I'm going to tell you that. He's a klutz. He fell in my basement, and he put his arm through an x-ray view box, and he shoved the glass in there like a sail in a sailboat. And when he did that, we just rushed him up to the hospital. I didn't know he was hurt. The girls just said, oh, my gosh, we got blood squirting everywhere. They threw towels on him, took him to Eastridge Hospital, and they did surgery. And the surgeon said, son, you're never going to practice chiropractic again. You'll probably never write your name again. And it's going to be 5 months before you move your fingers. And he put him in a lobster boy cast. And so we had just bought our first laser 2 days before this. We lasered through the cast and for 30 minutes twice a day. And in 10 days, all 5 fingers started moving, not 5 months. We took the cast off. He could make a fist. It took 5 months for feeling to come back, but motor nerves came back in 10 days with a laser. That's the power of laser. We use that in a lot of our treatment programs, along with shockwave therapy. And today he's back practicing again. In fact, he just purchased a practice in Chattanooga somewhere. I can't say where yet. And so he's going to be back in full-time practice again, which is beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a beautiful.
He's back playing guitar like me, but he never did play as good as me anyway, so that's no excuse.
Oh my goodness! So I can tell you're a real fun guy. So what do you do outside of work for fun? What is it you and your wife love to do together?
Oh, we like cheap night at the movie theater, and we like to go on a date night on Tuesdays and get the little free popcorn at UEC theaters up here in Cleveland. Um, Look, I love to play guitar and sing. I'll sit outside my wife's shop. My wife owns Southern Charm Boutique. You ought to have her on sometime. She's got her new cookie company called Magnolia Cookies, and that named after her service dog. And she's also an author. Also, she has a children's book called Magnolia Grace about having a service dog because she's hearing impaired. And it's a beautiful book. She goes around to all the schools around Cleveland and reads the book to them. And they have a great time talking about bullying because she was bullied as a child. And so I sit outside her shop whenever she has events like the car show every month here in Cleveland. And I'll sit out there and just play guitar all day long, just jam a little and have fun and sing and just have a good time. You know, that's what I enjoy doing, playing guitar, singing, and being with my wife and getting people get better. That's the main things I do.
That's great. That's a great objective in life. I'm a musician myself, so I know what you're talking about. It's just soothing when you can sit
Let's
down.
do it to it, man.
Yeah,
Let's hit it.
it's just soothing when you can sit down and play and sing. But let me ask you, just to getting a little more personal.
Sure.
So you told us about your brother, but what about yourself? Have you ever had any hardships or life challenges that you went through that you can now say, looking back, that you have grown from it, you're better and stronger for it?
Yeah, 2 years ago, I only had one chakra machine because it's $50,000. It's an expensive machine. So I bought a big pizza carrying box and I was able to slide it in that and carry it between the offices. And I was stepping up the stairs and all of a sudden I heard the loudest pop I've ever heard in my life. My meniscus sheared in half and it just ripped. And it was so loud you could hear it for blocks, literally. And I couldn't walk on it. I went and saw a couple different orthopedic surgeons. They all want to do knee replacements, even though it wasn't bothering me until then, just because I did a lot of sports and I have some degeneration in the knee. And that led me into some really cool things and experiences. I hobbled around my office for almost a year. And then I started taking some of the trainings. I realized, like bracing, like a knee brace. I realized that the whole purpose of bracing is to turn the key. And I'm talking about high quality braces, not these crappy ones, not just something on Timu, but something high quality. You can actually take a key and turn it inwards or outwards and pull the knee over one way or the other. And all of a sudden you take a knee joint that's like this and you open it back up and you get the space back in it. I don't need knee. I have no intention on doing knee replacement now. It's feeling great. I also bought a knee decompression machine with it. It led me into doing knee care. And so it's so much fun because doing decompression, shockwave, and laser because it helps super heal the tissues. And then the other thing is, of course, regenerative medicine. They used to call it stem cell therapy. We don't call it that now. We call it regenerative medicine, PRP. Is your own blood cells. There's actually some products from vetted labs by the FDA you can use and inject the knee also and just rebuild that joint. So we're having a lot of fun getting a lot of people's knees. I used to send so many people to Dr. Ballard and other doctors in town that are great doctors. Now I'm able to help them where they don't need knee replacements 99% of the time, 95% of the time at least, which is really great to be able to avoid that for many years. The reason why is you can only have 2 knee replacements on any knee. After that, they have to amputate because they cut so much bone off each time they do it. They can only do 2 of them. So you don't want to do a knee replacement any sooner than you have to. And at Chattanooga Wellness Centers, we can help people avoid that without pain. There's no pain in the process. You just feel better as you go through care.
Amazing. I'm sure a lot of people out there are glad to hear that you offer that.
Well, I bought the machine for selfish reasons. My wife and I both had bad knees, and now we're both doing a heck of a lot better.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, let me ask you something. I know, a lot of people are just meeting you for the first time on here. Maybe they've never heard of you before. If there was one thing that you wanted our audience to know, if you could shout it from the rooftop, one thing you want them to know about your practice, what would it be?
Really that we care. Here's the really cool thing. I'm sitting there, I'm working on every neuropathy patient. I'm working on every back patient or knee patient. I'm doing shockwave therapy and stuff. I'm doing it myself. And then the staff do the laser part. They're all trained and certified in laser therapy. But they can see how much we care. In fact, I can almost hate it when patients graduate. We let them go from care and they're all done because we love seeing them. And then a lot of them just stop in, buy a cookie, one of my wife's cookies that we keep up front there, or just stop in and use the massage chair real quick. We don't charge them for a quick little massage chair, to stop in if they're a good patient. It's like they're family, you never know. We don't use numbers in our office. Everybody's by name and birthday. We don't use a patient ID number ever because they're all family. And we lost one of, I want to say my condolences to Eichenberg family. Tom just passed away last week, I found out, and I did not know that. And he was a great patient, just finishing his neuropathy care with us. And gosh, he died of a heart attack all of a sudden. You never know. He was young, 55, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're sweet people, but the mother and daughter are left behind. They're great people, and they're all family. So when somebody passes away, I mean, it hurts all of us,
Sure, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, it's nice to know there's people out there that care, because you want that when you go seek advice or help, or you want to feel like people care, about you. If they don't, I like they care. It makes me not want to go back. So
yeah. Well, and I'll tell you one thing that I realized: if I fail, if somehow I don't communicate well to the patient that, hey, if we don't do something about this problem with this neuropathy or knee problem, they're going to be getting on opioids. How many people get it? It only takes 10 days to get addicted to an opioid. Some authorities say 8 days. So my job is to try to keep them off of opioids and pain pills and stop them from becoming what you eventually become medical wreckage. You're on so many medications and so many surgeries that it's hard. A lot of chiropractors won't even see you. I still will, because I'll modify my techniques, but it makes it tough. And my twin brother was almost medical wreckage, and we got him the proper care. Now he's back in practice. He's got some long-term problems from surgeries he had, but he's able to practice full time now again. And it's exciting to see people just get better. That's what gives me fulfillment in life. Hey, I'd rather be a rock and roll musician, or country musician, but hey, this is what God gave me gifts for. So that's what I do.
I'm sure there's a lot of your patients are happy that you're not a rock and roll musician and that you've been around to help them out. So,
well, my brother and I, we did write the song "Mama, Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Chiros." It was number one in the chiropractic circuit, but it didn't go on the regular radio, unfortunately. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with that.
That's funny. Well, I tell you, I'm sure there's so many of our listeners out there that need what you're offering. They want to know how to get in touch with you. So, tell me the ways, whether it's on social media or the internet or phone number.
Yeah, we have our YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, Chattanooga Wellness. We take videos of testimonials. I had a guy yesterday has 0 sensory loss now. It was great. He just finished his care yesterday. I just put his video up. Of course, we have our Facebook. Chattanooga Wellness, where we try to post on there, and then of course they can call our 24-hour hotline, which is 954-PAIN, which is 7246, I believe, but 954-PAIN, area code 423. That's our answering service. Of course, our office number is just 790-5000 here in Cleveland, and 790-5000. You can call that for either office as well. And we're located right on 30th and McCoy Street, and down on Williamsburg Plaza in Chattanooga on East Brainerd Road. And so it's I just haven't put much stuff out there because of the fire in the old office this week. Kept me a little busy this week between patients,
Yeah, we sorry for that loss of your building. That was a terrible loss.
Fortunately, the fire. I got a heads up to the fire department, Chattanooga. They were there in under 4 minutes, and they stopped it from going to the second floor. So it's going to cost a little money, but we can fix this. It's fixable. And so we had a guy ready to buy the building. We got to get it fixed real quick so we can go ahead and buy it. And awesome. I hate to sell it because it's right on the corner of East Brainerd Road and Brainerd Road. Beautiful place.
Yeah. Well, good luck with all that. And thanks so much for taking time today to be with us. And we've enjoyed having you. Hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Oh, I loved it, Scott. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And to all the good neighbors of the Cleveland and Chattanooga area, after meeting Dr. Jones and learning more about Chattanooga Wellness Centers, we hope you will take a moment and consider all he has to offer, and remember him when you need or want the products and services that he provides. And before
the website, by the way, is neuropathyhealed.com. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you a website. Neuropathyhealed.com.
Neuropathy Healed. That's with an ED on the end. Healed.
Yes, sir. Neuropathy. Okay. I should have told you that. That's an easy way to catch us too.
Oh, that's okay. No problem at all. No problem at all. Anything else you want to add?
There's several different pages in the website. One, for chiropractic, for neuropathy, for knee pain. They can click whatever topic they want and see more about it there. But if they go to Neuropathy Healed or Chattanooga Chiropractic, there's more letters to type.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody remember that. If you can't remember all that information, just rewind the podcast and listen to it again. He's got a lot of good information, how to find him and things that he can do to help us. So before ending this episode, I would like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy day to visit with us at the Good Neighbor Podcast. Always remember to support the locally owned and operated businesses in Cleveland and the greater Chattanooga area. This is Scott Howell with the Friends and Neighbors Group. Everyone go out and make this a remarkable day.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpcleveland.com. That's gnpcleveland.com or call 423-380-1984.
I was dancing to that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,